Today we're talking about one of the biggest beefs in hip-hop, the ongoing rivalry between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. From early collaborations to diss tracks and legal drama, this beef has been wild. But how did we go from them being cool to taking shots at each other? What started off as mutual respect quickly turned into some serious competition. Whether you're Team Drake or Team Kendrick, you've probably been keeping an eye on this saga, and trust me, it's been full of jaw-dropping moments. So grab a snack, settle in, and let's break down everything that's gone down in the Drake versus Kendrick saga from the very start, and see where we are now. Before all the drama, before the dissies, Drake and Kendrick Lamar actually started off on pretty good terms. Yeah, you heard that right. Back in 2011, Kendrick was still a relatively unknown rapper, and Drake was already making waves with his album Take Care. But somehow, they managed to link up on a few tracks. Remember Buried Alive Interlude? That's where Kendrick hopped onto a track with Drake, and it was actually pretty smooth. Both artists were making music for the same generation, and at this point, it was all about mutual respect. And it wasn't just that one song. Kendrick showed up on Drake's Take Care album, and Drake returned the favor by appearing on Kendrick's Good Kid m.A.A.d City album in 2012. These collaborations seem to hint at the possibility of something bigger, like two rising stars coming together. They even shared a similar vibe: introspective, thoughtful lyrics paired with catchy beats. It was like these two could have been the next big thing in rap, together. But, as you probably already know, things didn't stay all chill for long. It's not that they had a falling out right away, it wasn't even really beef yet. More like a spark, a little tension in the air. You could feel it creeping in, even if they were still riding the same wave at this point. And looking back, you can almost pinpoint when things started to shift. So what changed? How did these two go from being cool collaborators to the center of one of the most talked about beefs in hip-hop? You won't believe how it all went down, but trust me, it's coming. Fast forward to 2013. Kendrick Lamar drops a bombshell. Out of nowhere, his verse on Big Sean's track Control took the entire hip-hop world by surprise. In it, Kendrick calls himself the King of New York and throws some major shade at other top-tier artists, including Drake, J. Cole, and a few others. He wasn't just rapping, he was challenging his peers. He was saying, if you want to be the best, you need to step your game up. Now, Kendrick didn't call out Drake directly by name, but let's be real, everyone knew he was talking about him. For a while, Drake had been seen as one of the top guys in rap, so Kendrick taking aim at him was no small thing. The line in Control wasn't a diss in the typical sense, but it definitely put the competition on blast. Kendrick wasn't just competing for charts and awards, he was going for the crown. And Drake? Well, Drake wasn't one to let something like that slide. When asked about it in interviews, he didn't exactly throw Kendrick under the bus, but he made it clear that he wasn't happy about being called out. There was a slight tension in his responses, something that hinted he wasn't taking Kendrick's friendly competition vibe all that well. At the time, Drake was busy building his empire, but now, he had a challenge staring him right in the face. What makes the Control verse so interesting is that Kendrick didn't exactly start a full-on beef. He was, in his own words, trying to push the culture forward, make everyone better. But let's be real. Calling out a superstar like Drake is bound to get some attention, and that's exactly what it did. And from this moment on, things between them would never be the same. But how did that verse lead to more tension? What happened next was just the beginning. After the Control verse dropped, things between Kendrick and Drake definitely weren't the same. But instead of an all-out war, what followed were more like subtle jabs. No full-on diss tracks yet, just little moments that kept fans guessing about what was really going on between the two. In 2014, Kendrick dropped To Pimp a Butterfly, and one track that had everyone talking was King Kunta. On the surface, it was all about empowerment and owning your story, but some fans couldn't help but notice a deeper message about authenticity. See, Kendrick had always prided himself on writing his own lyrics, something Drake had faced criticism for in the past due to the ghostwriting rumors. So when Kendrick rapped about King Kunta, many people connected it to the whole debate about who's really writing their bars. And naturally, Some took this as a shot at Drake. But did Drake respond right away? Nah, he kept it cool. In fact, he was asked about Kendrick's new album in an interview, and while he didn't exactly start firing back, he did seem a little off. He was respectful, of course, but there was a sense that he wasn't exactly feeling Kendrick's move. Then came 2015, and even though there wasn't a direct confrontation between them, both artists started to make more pointed comments. Kendrick, known for his fierce lyrics, was clearly staking his claim in the rap game, and Drake, the global superstar with his catchy hooks and crossover appeal, was doing the same. It became clear that they were both going in different directions, not just musically, but ideologically. Kendrick was all about that raw, unapologetic lyricism, while Drake, although undeniably talented, often leaned on hooks and a more mainstream sound. There were no diss tracks yet, but if you listened closely to their interviews and music, you could feel the tension simmering underneath. Both were at the top of their games, but they were starting to look at each other like competitors, not collaborators. What started as a slight shift was now becoming something bigger. So, where did this all lead? Did Kendrick and Drake continue to throw little shots at each other? Or did it explode into something more? Trust me, things were about to get way more intense. Fast forward to 2023, and things between Drake and Kendrick took a major turn. By this time, both artists had solidified their positions as giants in the rap game. The landscape had changed, but the tension was still there simmering, waiting to boil over. That's when J. Cole entered the chat. On the track First Person Shooter, a collaboration between Drake and J. Cole, the line, "The Big Three" was thrown out. J. Cole was calling out the trio of Drake, Kendrick, and himself as the top rappers in the game, like a modern-day rap dynasty. Now, on the surface, it seemed like a respectful nod to their dominance in hip-hop. But if you're paying attention, you know that Kendrick and Drake had never really fully squashed their differences, and it didn't take long before Kendrick responded. In March 2024, Kendrick dropped Like That, and fans quickly realized that this wasn't just another track. It was loaded with cryptic lyrics that many saw as direct shots at both Drake and J. Cole. It was a subtle yet clear reminder that Kendrick was still hungry and still thinking about his place at the top of the rap game. He didn't just throw in a few bars about his rivals. He came with some serious energy. The Big Three mention was clearly more of a challenge than a celebration. Kendrick wasn't backing down from his throne, and he wasn't about to let anyone forget it. But what was most interesting about Like That was how Kendrick presented it. He didn't just come out and diss Drake directly. That wouldn't have been his style. Instead, he packed the track with sharp, layered lines that had everyone guessing. The entire song was a puzzle, and fans were eager to decode the hidden meanings. It was a clever way to stir up controversy without putting everything out there on a silver platter. Classic Kendrick move, right? And then, just when it seemed like things couldn't get more tense, Kendrick set the stage for a showdown. His response wasn't just a signal, it was a warning. This wasn't just about rap anymore, this was about who really controlled the game. Now it was clear, the gloves were off. Alright, we're reaching the final chapter in the Drake versus Kendrick saga, and trust me, this is where things get really wild. In the aftermath of Kendrick's Like That and all the cryptic jabs, it seemed like it was only a matter of time before Drake fired back. And he did, but not in the way many expected. In late 2024, Drake dropped Not Like Us, a track that seemed like it was aimed straight at Kendrick. The lyrics were loaded with barbs, with Drake taking aim at Kendrick's lyrical content, his attitude, and his constant need to be seen as the best. The song came with a vicious energy, a clear response to Kendrick's challenge. Fans went wild, dissecting every line to figure out just how much of it was aimed at Kendrick. But that wasn't all. As if the rap game wasn't intense enough, things took an even crazier turn when Drake's team got involved in a legal battle. In a controversial move, Drake used AI-generated voices of Tupac Shakur and Snoop Dogg in a freestyle track, Tailor-Made. It was an odd but bold move, something no one really saw coming. However, the backlash was swift. The Shakur estate wasn't having it, threatening legal action. As a result, Drake had to pull the song. Talk about drama! The legal issues didn't end there. Both Kendrick and Drake kept releasing music, and the tension seemed to keep escalating. But it wasn't just about music anymore, it was becoming personal. These two weren't just competing on the charts, they were competing for legacy. Who would be remembered as the king of this generation? By March 2025, Drake released Nokia, A video that fans quickly linked to Kendrick's Like That. The black and white aesthetic, the layered imagery, the way the video almost mirrored Kendrick's, it was clear. Drake was sending a message. He wasn't just responding to Kendrick's bars, he was challenging him directly, showing that he wasn't backing down. So, where do we stand now? The beef is still raging on with no clear end in sight. Each artist continues to climb higher in the game, and the rivalry between them keeps the entire hip-hop community on edge. Who knows where this will go from here? But one thing's for sure, this isn't just another rap feud. This is a battle for the crown. So, what do you think? Is this just about music, or is it a deeper competition for the throne of rap? We've seen some of the biggest names in the game take shots at each other, but Drake and Kendrick beef is different. It's layered, intense, and ongoing. From early collaborations to all-out diss tracks, these two have taken hip-hop to a whole new level. Will we ever see a resolution? Only time will tell, but we'll be watching closely. Let us know your thoughts. Are you Team Drake or Team Kendrick? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on all things hip-hop. Until next time.